I've got a lot of compliments for the way Cam Newton played yesterday. He threw for 350, a couple of touchdowns, played after that hit, kept coming, threw downfield, took hits, ran the football. I mean, Cam did a lot yesterday, a lot in a loss. But Cam got crushed on that hit. He's woozy getting up, and then he goes to the sideline and falls down on the field. And the Panthers say it's an eye injury. He had something in his eye. Well, maybe when he got crushed, something poked his eye. But I don't know if something in your eye forces you to collapse before you get to the sideline, which is what happened. I mean, when Tyrod Taylor went down, he's just in stunned concussion mode. Just stunned. You could see his arms brace stuck to the side, and then one of the Jaguars defenders, the second one, comes over top and hits him again in the face mask as he's laying on the ground. Prone, not a dirty hit, but just the aftermath of the tackle. Now, Tyrod Taylor never came back, but Cam Newton did. And I'll be honest, part of me didn't want to see Cam Newton come out, because I don't want to see the Panthers' playoff hopes and their season come down to a backup quarterback if the starting quarterback wants to play. And I realize this is totally hypocritical of me, because I have said sometimes you've got to save these players from themselves. When a quarterback is seizing in the end zone, the referee's looking at him, and he's allowed to come back onto the football field, that guy shouldn't have the ability to make that decision. I mean, dude, you're seizing up. It's just ugly. We don't need to see that. But for Cam Newton, I don't know. Part of me goes, why should this playoff game be decided by the Panthers' backup quarterback right now? Because then they're cooked. Like, we didn't want to see Nathan Peterman in there. Well, you know what? Let me take that back. Tyrod Taylor wasn't any better, so who cares? Hope he's healthy, but man, it's not like Tyrod Taylor in there anyway felt like you had much of a chance to score a touchdown, let alone when Peterman comes in. Jay Peterman was more like it. But this is where I think the NFL's at an impossible crossroads. Players want to play. And if they want to play, the coaches definitely want them to play. And in big situations, I think fans want them to play. We don't feel great about it. But if Cam Newton wants to go out there and play, who's to stop him? It's the playoffs. It's your season. It's the final quarter of the season. It's the final quarter of your year. I think it's a very difficult situation. It's like you have to arm these athletes with as much information as possible, which is why I think a living CTE test changes everything. Where if these athletes can test their levels of CTE while they're alive, and they can chart that as their career goes on, it's like charting a knee injury. Okay, when I was 22 years old, I had this mobility in my knee, but then I tore my ACL, and I have this mobility in my knee. Then I tore it again, and I have this mobility in my knee. It would be invaluable for these guys to have that CTE test when they were living so that they know. If Cam Newton has had a number of concussions before, he sees the buildup of tau protein or CTE coming or whatnot, maybe he doesn't push himself back into that game. But if he does, at least he is manned with all of the information he needs. But that's a tough situation for the NFL, because you don't want to see the Panthers' backup quarterback decide that game. You want to see Cam Newton decide that game. And if Cam wants to decide that game, it's hard to tell him you're not allowed to.